the two little ones finally arrived, but everything was far different from what Xie Sui'an had imagined. They needed something essential to develop normally, and time was running out. Meanwhile, a new clue about the missing life essence led them closer to a dangerous hidden force. Xie Sui'an was also beginning to rely on Jiang Yu's pheromones without even understanding why. With his body becoming increasingly difficult to control and their bond still impossible to break, the two were forced to face a problem they could no longer avoid. But Jiang Yu's final question would take their relationship in a completely unexpected direction. Xie Sui'an looked directly at Jiang Yu and asked if he would still respect his decision, just as he had promised. Jiang Yu remained silent for a moment before accepting that, this time, he would follow Xie Sui'an's choice. So Xie Sui'an decided to give up the two little lives and put an end to the unexpected situation between them. He turned and walked away, while Jiang Yu could only stand there and watch him leave in silence. Seeing his grandson so disappointed, Jiang Yu's grandfather realized that his relationship with Xie Sui'an seemed to have reached a dead end. Jiang Yu had proposed before but was rejected because his pheromones made Xie Sui'an uncomfortable, while he himself had once instinctively rejected Xie Sui'an's aura. Jiang Yu began to wonder if the two of them truly could not be together, despite the undeniable bond that already existed between them. Meanwhile, Xie Sui'an returned home and tried to enjoy the quiet, after believing that everything had finally been resolved. But the more he rested, the more something felt wrong, because this decision should have made him feel relieved. Xie Sui'an began thinking about the two little lives and realized that they were completely innocent, yet they would have to pay the price for what had happened between him and Jiang Yu. The more he thought about it, the harder it became to ignore their lives. In the end, Xie Sui'an decided to keep them, and, for now, work with Jiang Yu to help them through the dangerous period. With that decision made, he immediately left home and went back to find Jiang Yu. Xie Sui'an stood outside Jiang Yu's home and told his grandfather that he had changed his mind. This time, he wanted to keep the two little lives. Jiang Yu's grandfather seriously asked whether he had truly thought it through, and Xie Sui'an no longer hesitated. After being directed to the room next door, Xie Sui'an went looking for Jiang Yu, but there was no response from inside. He opened the door and immediately sensed an unusually strong aura filling the room. The deeper he went, the more clearly Xie Sui'an sensed something was wrong, until he spotted a strange figure beside the water. Jiang Yu's greatest secret was finally revealed when he appeared in the form of a gigantic serpent. What shocked Xie Sui'an even more was that Jiang Yu was protecting the two eggs resting in the water. Before Xie Sui'an could understand what was happening, Jiang Yu told him to leave immediately, but Xie Sui'an realized that Jiang Yu's condition was far from normal. Instead of leaving, he tried to understand what was happening to him. When Jiang Yu learned that Xie Sui'an had returned to save the two little lives, his resolve began to waver, and his suppressed emotions quickly became difficult to control. The two found themselves in an intense situation, with Xie Sui'an trying to bring Jiang Yu back to his senses and reminding him that the two little lives were what mattered most. In the midst of the confusion, an unexpected mark appeared, but Xie Sui'an's attention was quickly drawn to the two eggs as they began to change. Cracks appeared across their shells, signaling that the two little lives were finally preparing to emerge into the world. As the shells continued to crack, the truth about the two little lives gradually came to light. They carried Jiang Yu's serpent spirit bloodline. Xie Sui'an panicked and pushed Jiang Yu away, wanting to escape a situation that was quickly getting out of control. He immediately got up and tried to leave, but Jiang Yu quickly stopped him. Xie Sui'an struggled to pull away, while Jiang Yu still refused to let go as his condition became increasingly unstable. During the struggle, Jiang Yu suddenly pulled Xie Sui'an closer, making the tension between them even stronger. Xie Sui'an was confused by Jiang Yu's unusual behavior, but Jiang Yu reminded him that the two little lives were preparing to enter the world. Jiang Yu pointed toward the two eggs, asking Xie Sui'an not to give up on them after everything they had been through. Seeing the two eggs made Xie Sui'an hesitate, because he realized that the two little lives were truly fighting to enter the world. Xie Sui'an still kept his distance, but Jiang Yu tried to convince him that the two little lives needed both of them. As the pheromones continued affecting Jiang Yu's condition, the situation between them quickly became difficult to control. Xie Sui'an realized that Jiang Yu was no longer completely clear-headed and immediately became cautious about what might happen next. He tried to stop him, but both their strength and composure were gradually fading. Jiang Yu continued holding Xie Sui'an close, while Xie Sui'an could only try to maintain his distance and protect himself. As the situation continued, Xie Sui'an became exhausted, while Jiang Yu also began to realize that he was crossing a line. At that moment, Xie Sui'an vaguely saw an image of two baby snakes breaking through their shells, as if it were a sign that the little ones were finally about to arrive. Later, Xie Sui'an woke up in a dazed state, unsure how much time had passed. He looked at Jiang Yu with a mixture of exhaustion and frustration, because Jiang Yu's unusual condition still had not completely passed. Xie Sui'an tried to ask Jiang Yu to stop, but he was already too exhausted to resist much longer. When he sensed something unusual happening to his own body, Xie Sui'an became even more confused and began to question Jiang Yu's condition. He continued trying to push Jiang Yu away, but their difference in strength made every attempt increasingly difficult. Eventually, Xie Sui'an was completely exhausted and could only lie still while Jiang Yu gradually regained his composure. When Jiang Yu realized that Xie Sui'an was crying, he immediately panicked and understood that he had hurt him. Jiang Yu quickly apologized and admitted that his heightened sensitivity had made it difficult for him to control himself as usual. He then gently helped Xie Sui'an back to his feet and took the initiative to help him recover. Xie Sui'an was still confused when he realized that despite Jiang Yu's serpent spirit bloodline, his body was much warmer than he had expected. Jiang Yu explained that his unusual condition required time to stabilize, and for the first time, his usual firmness gave way to genuine regret. When everything finally settled down, Jiang Yu quietly stayed beside Xie Sui'an, leaving a complicated silence between them. Xie Sui'an was exhausted after several difficult days. With barely any strength left, Jiang Yu stayed by his side and took care of him, while Xie Sui'an only wanted to recover as quickly as possible. When Xie Sui'an woke up, he angrily blamed Jiang Yu for making him miss 3 days of work. Worried about his responsibilities, Xie Sui'an was relieved to hear that Jiang Yu had already taken care of everything. Later, Xie Sui'an sat down to eat some porridge, quietly complaining about the meal Jiang Yu had prepared. While eating, Xie Sui'an suddenly remembered the 2 children and immediately asked Jiang Yu about them. Jiang Yu told him that the 2 children had successfully hatched, making Xie Sui'an eager to see them. Remembering what had happened before, Xie Sui'an seriously suggested letting Jiang Yu raise the 2 children. He also said that if the children needed anything, he would do his best to cooperate and help. Xie Sui'an believed this was the best choice he could make under the circumstances. Jiang Yu agreed to Xie Sui'an's suggestion and prepared to take him to see the children. However, Jiang Yu still could not understand why Xie Sui'an had not considered raising the children together. He remembered what Xie Sui'an had said about their pheromones and how he could not live with him. Jiang Yu said nothing more and simply told Xie Sui'an to come see the children with him. When they arrived, Xie Sui'an was stunned to see that the 2 children had already taken the form of newborn babies. Jiang Yu's grandfather explained that serpent spirit descendants naturally took human form, while the eggs were simply the environment in which they developed. After hatching for a few hours, they would naturally take the form of newborn babies. His grandfather also explained that young serpent spirit children developed much faster than human children. Xie Sui'an was amazed by how quickly the 2 children were developing and how unusually well behaved they were. Jiang Yu explained that newborns would normally cry, but these 2 children were quite different. Xie Sui'an looked at the 2 children, still unable to understand what made them different from ordinary babies. Jiang Yu calmly said that the 2 children were experiencing a developmental problem. Xie Sui'an froze, immediately turned to Jiang Yu, and asked him to explain exactly what was wrong with the 2 children. Jiang Yu explained that the 2 children had hatched too early and lacked enough life essence, which had affected their health. However, they could still recover if their missing life essence was found. Jiang Yu's grandfather warned that they had to recover the life essence before the children reached 8 months old. Otherwise, their condition could last for the rest of their lives. Xie Sui'an was stunned by the news, while Jiang Yu tried to reassure him that there was still a chance to find clues from those searching for the missing life essence. Just then, the 2 children began crying, making Xie Sui'an turn around immediately. Jiang Yu realized they were probably hungry. When Xie Sui'an had no idea what to do, Jiang Yu explained that they simply needed some baby formula. Jiang Yu's grandfather scolded them for forgetting to feed the children, then showed them where the formula had been stored. Xie Sui'an immediately went to prepare the formula, while his grandfather took the opportunity to advise Jiang Yu to be honest with Xie Sui'an about the pheromone issue. But Jiang Yu refused and used helping Xie Sui'an in the kitchen as an excuse to avoid continuing the conversation. Thinking it over alone, Jiang Yu realized that if he revealed the truth, Xie Sui'an might feel sorry for him and try even harder to stay away. Meanwhile, Xie Sui'an fell asleep beside the 2 children, while Jiang Yu quietly took care of both him and the little ones. When Xie Sui'an instinctively pulled away from his touch, Jiang Yu immediately noticed that Xie Sui'an's pheromones were affecting him. He remembered the doctor's warning that his body had an unusually strong reaction to this particular type of pheromone. Because of that, Jiang Yu had once believed that staying away from Xie Sui'an would keep everything under control. But his feelings for him were slowly changing. Back in their college days, Jiang Yu had once voluntarily withdrawn from a competition because he could not work with Xie Sui'an, even though their professor considered them both outstanding. At the time, Jiang Yu was always at the top of the rankings, while Xie Sui'an consistently followed close behind in their department. Yet Xie Sui'an still entered that competition and surprised everyone with his confident debating skills. With sharp arguments about money and health, Xie Sui'an made the entire audience laugh before winning the competition and earning the title of Best Debater. His teammates happily congratulated him, while Xie Sui'an humbly accepted the award and decided to treat everyone to bubble tea. Watching everything from a distance, Jiang Yu hesitated, wanting to congratulate him, but ultimately chose to walk away. After leaving, Jiang Yu began to realize that he had unconsciously started caring about Xie Sui'an far more than a stranger ever should. On his way home, a flower seller suddenly invited Jiang Yu to buy flowers for his partner, making him stop in front of a pot of delicate balloon flowers. In the end, Jiang Yu simply pointed at the pot and said that he wanted to buy those flowers. President Zhou reviewed Lu Yan's file and learned that he was an orphaned alpha carrying a large debt, yet he had once saved his life. Although he still had some doubts, President Zhou decided to give Lu Yan a chance since there was no urgent task that required him at the moment. When Lu Yan came to ask for a 500,000 loan to resolve a delayed construction payment, President Zhou immediately questioned how the money would be used. After carefully observing Lu Yan and confirming that he was completely clear-headed, President Zhou finally agreed to lend him the money. Lu Yan thanked him and left the office, while President Zhou immediately ordered someone to investigate his background and outstanding debts. Shortly afterward, Jiang Yu and Xie Sui'an arrived and invited Lu Yan out to ask about the person who had stolen the life essence. Standing near Lu Yan, Xie Sui'an suddenly felt uncomfortable because of the unfamiliar pheromones. To his surprise, Jiang Yu's pheromones felt much more soothing. Jiang Yu directly asked Lu Yan about the thief's appearance, but Lu Yan could only remember that the person always kept their face hidden. Jiang Yu continued asking about the person's scent and clan, making Lu Yan increasingly cautious. Eventually, Lu Yan revealed a clue. The scent he had noticed seemed to be connected to the Tiger clan, a powerful family that even other spirit clans treated with caution. Xie Sui'an was shocked to learn that tiger spirits also existed, while Jiang Yu calmly considered the possibility of recovering the missing life essence. Jiang Yu explained that they still could not confirm whether the Tiger clan was involved, but he would find a way to meet its current leader and investigate further. After the conversation, Xie Sui'an returned to work and noticed that the pheromones around him were making him increasingly uncomfortable. During the meeting, his nausea and headache became more noticeable, making Xie Sui'an realize that something might be wrong with his body. After the meeting ended, Xie Sui'an still could not feel comfortable and kept covering his nose because of the mixture of unfamiliar pheromones around him. Just then, Jiang Yu appeared beside a business partner, and the familiar quality of his pheromones immediately caught Xie Sui'an's attention. Xie Sui'an realized that only Jiang Yu's pheromones made him feel comfortable, but he was also becoming increasingly confused by his own reaction. When a coworker mentioned that Jiang Yu was meeting with a client, Xie Sui'an decided to wait in his office. As soon as he entered, Xie Sui'an began looking for something that might still carry Jiang Yu's pheromones and help him feel better. He searched through the office and eventually found something that belonged to Jiang Yu. Xie Sui'an quickly realized it was Jiang Yu's tie and picked it up. He lifted the tie, hoping to find traces of the familiar scent still lingering on it, but the discomfort did not go away, making Xie Sui'an realize that such a small amount of pheromones was not enough. As his condition became increasingly difficult to ignore, Xie Sui'an found himself wanting more of Jiang Yu's familiar pheromones to stabilize himself. He remained in the office, completely unable to understand why he had suddenly become so dependent on that familiar scent. Xie Sui'an still could not shake the feeling of needing more, and his expression grew increasingly tense. In the end, Xie Sui'an could only admit that the traces of pheromones left on the tie still were not enough to calm his body down. Jiang Yu finished his meeting with the client and confirmed that every delivery milestone would be completed according to the contract. After giving the contract to the client for review, Jiang Yu received their approval and quickly arranged the next steps. He assigned the team to closely monitor the progress and asked them to finish the first draft before evening, so they could review the key milestones together. Back in his office, Jiang Yu suddenly sensed that something was unusual and temporarily changed his work plan. After the staff left, Jiang Yu returned to the office and closed the door, while Xie Sui'an was still inside, increasingly uncomfortable. Xie Sui'an reached for the item carrying Jiang Yu's pheromones, but the feeling of needing more continued to grow. Noticing Xie Sui'an's condition, Jiang Yu immediately approached him and asked whether his body was having an unusual reaction. Xie Sui'an could not explain it clearly. He only knew that he desperately needed Jiang Yu's pheromones to regain his balance. Jiang Yu believed this might be a lingering reaction from Xie Sui'an's previous sensitive period, temporarily causing his body to rely on Jiang Yu's pheromones. When Xie Sui'an still did not feel better, Jiang Yu decided to help ease his discomfort by staying closer to him. Caught off guard by Jiang Yu's actions, Xie Sui'an became flustered and did not know how to deal with what was happening. Jiang Yu tried to reassure him, explaining that his pheromones could help stabilize Xie Sui'an's condition. But the more Xie Sui'an realized he was losing control of his own reactions, the heavier the conflict inside him became. He did not want to become dependent on Jiang Yu, yet he could not deny that Jiang Yu's pheromones were making him feel better. Xie Sui'an began blaming himself because there were supposedly no romantic feelings between them, yet his body kept reacting in a completely different way. Seeing tears in Xie Sui'an's eyes, Jiang Yu gently asked whether he had done anything that made him uncomfortable. Xie Sui'an admitted that he did not want this situation to continue because there was still a clear emotional distance between them. Jiang Yu seriously promised that if they recovered the missing life essence, he would immediately break the bond between them. But that answer only made Xie Sui'an more worried, because if the life essence could not be recovered, their connection might continue indefinitely. Jiang Yu suggested a temporary way to help stabilize Xie Sui'an's pheromones, but Xie Sui'an still worried that it would make their relationship obvious to others. Faced with Xie Sui'an's refusal, Jiang Yu became more distant, but ultimately still chose to help him get through the discomfort. After everything settled down, Jiang Yu looked at Xie Sui'an with a complicated expression and began to wonder whether Xie Sui'an had misunderstood his feelings and the way he had treated him. It seems that things between Xie Sui'an and Jiang Yu won't end as easily as they expected. What do you think? Are Xie Sui'an's feelings truly changing, or is he simply being affected by pheromones? If you want to find out what happens next, do not forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next chapter.